Hey everybody, it's progress report time, and I will show you how I started something new. I finished the legs. I will show you, I'll do a screen share so you can see instead of my ugly mug, the camera showing the beads in progress. And get the camera positioned better. Here we go. Excuse the glare, it's just how I work. White ceramic plate and lots of light. Now, I'll show you first the finished legs. Okay, so these legs are going to be like kind of askew. Did the foot, and usually what's at the top of the thigh is the butt. So I'm doing the butt. Um, and these are, I don't know, this one's kind of big. That's all right. Better too big than too small. No excuse for a tiny butt on something like this. So I did one butt cheek. That's what this is. And I decided that, yeah, I better stop here. It's about as big a butt cheek as I want. And I made it a little pointy. So I'm not gonna make another one. I'm gonna stick with this, but the second one I make, I'm gonna try to make it less pointy. I will show you how I do that. A butt is basically a bowl shape. See, it's a bowl. It could be an abstract bowl. In this case, it's going to be a butt, not a bowl, but it is a bowl. And what I do, oop, I don't have to do what I was going to do, which is make a knot. Um, I'm going to take, all I do is I literally start with three beads. Let me get that a little closer. And tie it in a circle. That's how I started this one. Three beads tied in a circle. And I want to point out that I'm using doubled thread. That's why this is actually, you have to refund it. It doesn't collapse. It's not wimpy. Neither are the legs wimpy. I like them to be able to hold their shape without an armature, without other stuff. Sometimes I will um, stuff the hollow areas with something if they're so big that there's no way to avoid some sort of collapse in the thing. But generally, I try to avoid that. I don't have to, but I don't stuff unless I have to stuff. As you can see, I started with three beads. I'm taking two on. I strung two, and then I strung through the next one. I'll do that again. With this pile, I can just just dog pile the beads sh onto the needle, just shove them on. And what I'll do is also is attempt to keep the tail on the inside, what's going to become the inside of the circle of the what's turning into a circle and will turn into a, oh, what did I do? Okay, just checking here. Uh, what it starts out as a dot will turn into a circle, and the circle will turn into a bowl. So that's just has two stitches on it so far outside the first initial ring of three. And I feel a sneeze coming on. Excuse me. And I keep going around in circles on this. That is a good thing. Sometimes metaphorically, going around in circles is not a good thing, but in this literal sense, it's perfectly appropriate. What I'm doing is single bead stitches for this part. And except at the end where I don't want to have to, oh wait, I will do, yeah, I'll do one single stitch thing here. And then at the end, I'm not at the end yet, so I'll tell you what I do as soon as I do another couple stitches. Now, when I only need one bead, I don't shovel the beads onto the needle. I don't plow the needle through the field of beads, but when I do want more than one, I just go boink. And the advantage of a ceramic plate, the white ceramic plate, so you can see the beads, the ceramic so that my needle doesn't get caught in stuff. What I don't want to do anymore is for beaters, I don't want to do a step up anymore at the end of the row. So what I'm doing is putting on enough beads and skipping over the step up bead. And when you're supposed to step up, that is a mistake. But because I don't want to step up anymore, it is not a mistake. So beaters out there, people who do this kind of thing, remember that it's only a mistake if you declare it to be, or as some people say, a mistake repeated is a new stitch. So for now, to keep it flat, I'm filling in the space. Even though I'm skipping over one bead, I'm filling that space with two beads. If I fill that space with a single bead, it will not stay flat. And when let's see, I got three on there, so I'm taking one off. When I get to the point where I don't want it flat anymore, I want to make a bowl, and I believe I started to make it a bowl a little bit too quickly. I didn't make it too soon, but I started making it a tad too quickly. I mean, if I really want to beat myself up over this, which I don't, I will say that, yeah, this time I will be a little more gradual when I make a bowl out of it, make a bowl a little bit more gradually. And this might scare some beaters out there, but let's see, I did three. Hello. I usually don't back out of a stitch unless I have to, unless I feel it necessary. And yes, I feel it necessary. But really, at some point pretty soon, I'm going to have to start just riding the wave, surfing through these stitches, because at some point you can't really regulate it. You have to kind of feel your way through it. What I mean by that is that this starts out in a certain first few rows are a pattern. At this point, it's no longer a pattern. At this point, it's those little micro decisions. Okay, I'm going to skip over this space. Should I make it a single bead or two beads? Well, because I have two beads here that I can come up in between and insert a bead on, I will do a single bead. Or I could do two beads in this spot instead of one that I just did and go through those two. It's up to me. And beaters, when you're doing things like this, it is up to you. You don't have to follow a pattern. Um, Patterns are useful if you want to make the same exact thing over and over. Patterns are very useful for certain things, but patterns are not useful for figural sculptural bead weaving, especially when patterns are not improvisational, and this piece is improvisational. So I got you started. It's starting to warp a little bit, so I have to keep that in mind, because warping it is the opposite of making a bowl out of it ultimately. And I want to still keep it flat for several more rows, but I do want to make a bowl out of it eventually. And I will just do what it takes to do that, honestly. here I go, progressing all around the circle. And if I feel it's getting warped, I might, oh, why don't I just go through two beads instead of splitting them and putting a bead in between them? Then it stays a little flatter. I can live with that. Now, some people might ask why I don't want to use a pattern on this. And again, it's because who wants to chart out an entire 3D human figure that's going to be with the legs this big? If you want to, go for it. I won't stop you. Me, I'm not going to do that. Um, so let's see. I'll do a little more because I don't want to bring this video into yawn territory for non-beaters especially. But I do want to show you again, the little micro decisions I make. Uh, when I get further into this, I'm going to be expanding and I will show you. I will actually search for a narrower bead or a wider bead, depending on what I need. But I'll show you right here, for example, to widen this, I put, again, what I was talking about with the legs, I put a bead where it doesn't belong, so to speak. I put a two beads in the over the space of one bead. Then I put three beads over the space of one bead. Then I create an artificially induced up bead, up, down, and up. And then in that single bead space again, I put two beads. Then I put two wide beads. Then I put three narrow beads. Then I put three wide beads. Then I thought I was making it too conical, so I decided not to increase past that, at least for that row. So again, I'm making these little micro decisions. Could uh, they could be subjects of obsession where I search for 20 minutes for the right size of bead, but I will stop short of doing that because deadlines. I don't want to spend a cajillion years on it, but I do want to make something that I can look at and be glad I did it. I can look at it and be glad I made it. So there's a balance there. There's a gonna be pretty picky about what I choose and use, but I'm not gonna go completely mondo obsesso. So on that happy note, mondo obsesso, I will conclude. I'll stop the share. I'll get this camera out of the way. And I will thank you for your time and your eyeballs. I hope this is at least somewhat intriguing, or I hope it's fun for you to watch, watching a creator create. And don't forget that you yourself are a creator no matter what you do. If you exist, you're a creator. Not to get too preachy, but yes. Again, thanks again for your participation by watching this. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button. Hell, if you're watching it on Patreon, hit the like button and make a comment. Go, oh my God, are you nuts? Or yeah, say something nice, whatever you want. I'll talk to you later, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks. Bye.